This podcast is powered by the Trucker Service Association and the 12,000 plus members that help keep America moving. On this segment of The Road Home, we dig into what may be one of the top 3 costs associated with being an independent contractor, vehicle maintenance. I'm pleased to have a real expert with me today. Kevin Hamilton has been with the Amarillo, Texas-based Bruckner's family dealerships for almost 30 years. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I know we've been working on this. I know being on the service side of our industry, you're a busy guy 8 days a week, so thanks for carving out the time today. If you could, people that aren't from Texas probably aren't familiar with Bruckner's, but if you could just give the audience a little rundown of, been in business since 1932, just a great family-owned company. If you could just share with us a little bit of the history of Bruckner's.
Yeah, Ben Bruckner Sr. founded the company in Amarillo, Texas, 1932. He's grown from a small garage in now having 32 rooftops. In those 88 years, Bruckner's has had 3 generational changes, from Ben Bruckner Sr. to Ben Bruckner Jr., now to Ben's sons, Brian and Chris. And they lead the company in the same values and commitment that their father and grandfather had.
Man, just a phenomenal story and just a real testament. Since I'm based in Texas as well, Kevin, I've been in around the Bruckner dealerships and been to events with Bruckner people and hey, we're both fortunate to be in the trucking industry and to serve, the professional truckers. But for you to be able to service their tractors, and I know you do some work with trailers as well, it's got to be very rewarding.
It really is. The great company to work for. Like you said, I've been here for 30 years with this company, and started right out of high school with you guys.
Well, man, great story. Congratulations on your success. But Kevin, let's hop right into it. The quality, I know you guys don't represent Peterbilt, but I'm right here in Denton, Texas, right by the Peterbilt factory in Denton. And it's just amazing. The quality coming from all the OEMs, has really improved over the years. I know in the 29, 30 years you've been in the business, you've seen a lot of changes. As a result, are you seeing independent contractors keep their tractors longer?
Well, John, I have to agree with you, and there's probably a lot of people who don't like me to agree with this, but all the OEMs have really become on the level playing field. In a result, the trucks are lasting longer, and the independents are keeping the trucks longer.
At what mileage, I know a lot of fleets will want to trade out their tractors at or around 500,000 miles, because, that's kind of when the warranty starts, maintenance costs really jump up. But for an independent contractor, Kevin, at what mileage would you recommend considering a newer tractor? A lot of them like to buy pre-owned or even a brand new truck.
I really think that has depending on what their usage is for. What are they doing with the truck? Is it a rough environment? Is it a smooth environment? Is it over the road? Some of the new and the used trucks today can last 1 million miles with no really unexpected faults or major component problems. Yeah,
that's a good point. It really depends on the application. Is it short haul, dedicated, long haul? You're going coast to coast, hauling reefers. A lot of variables to consider. So, man, that's a great point. Let's talk a little bit about tractor maintenance, preventive maintenance. What all, I know a lot of folks listening right now have been in the business a long time, so, they've got this down to a science, but there's a lot of, I call them Johnny-come-latelys, folks that, due to whatever, industry they were in, might be due to, financial crisis in 08, 09, they got out of, certain industries and started driving a truck. But what are some of the things involved in routine tractor maintenance that you can share with the listeners?
Well, preventive maintenance to me is the largest thing, and the one thing that I will honestly tell everybody that this is what I practice myself. I want to maintain my vehicle by maintaining the oil changes, the running the overhead, to tires, fuel economy, how's the truck running. mean, just to go back briefly, this a preventive maintenance. It's a routine maintenance to keep the equipment running by preventing unplanned downtime, unexpected equipment failure. So if you maintain it, it's gonna work for you, and it's gonna be it's gonna live a long time. I mean, there's a huge debts that are owed on these vehicles, and if they're not maintained and they're not making the money, the owner operator is not making that money, then it's not doing them any good.
Well, Kevin, some folks may want to skip maybe a PM interval, so they may have, hey, is it always worth the time and the money to do the preventive maintenance on the schedule? And so what would you say to that?
I would say absolutely not. I mean, most operators who can operate between 10 and even 40% more efficient by just having the oil changed up, having fuel filters changed, air filters changed, and listening to the vehicle. I mean, you're in it constantly. You're in it more than 80 hours, probably a week sometimes. Premature failures from lack of maintenance is severe. It's the most common denominator that's going to either make that truck last for you or for that truck just have a short life and cost you money.
I've been out and about. We're fortunate being in the trucking industry. We're very essential to the economy. So during this COVID shutdown, trucking has kept on rolling. So we're both very fortunate there, as well as the drivers that are listening. But from time to time, I'll see a tractor on the side of Interstate 35, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area or up in Oklahoma. And I always wonder what happened to that tractor. Could it have been prevented? Do you have any stats? I know this isn't something we talked about earlier, but when there's a roadside maintenance issue or a driver has to get towed because his tractor failed, are there any stats, like maybe the top one or two items that you know about that causes a roadside assistance and maybe a very expensive towing bill?
Just from the years' experience that I've been in this industry, a large part of it is really the preventive maintenance. If they're not staying on top of it, then more than likely it's going to have a premature failure. I do have some owner operators that I deal quite a bit with, and they're really intent on making sure that they're doing the preventive maintenance with the manufacturer's scheduled maintenance programs to what do you recommend as the service department to us? And a lot of some of the parts of them bringing them to us and asking us, our professional opinion has made these trucks really last longer. And sometimes it's just regrettable that some of the fleets are running pretty trucks hard and they are just abused.
Yeah, it's amazing the workload that these tractors are put under, especially in the heat of the summer, and just they keep on going and going and going. And I don't know if people remember the Energizer Bunny commercials, but man, that's a great example of what a lot of the OEMs are doing now with their tractors. And well, let's talk a little bit about budgeting. Cost. I know, hey, just the cost to maintain and run a tractor for independent contractors has become very expensive. But what are your thoughts on budgeting for preventive maintenance? Will this help control an owner-operator's costs, really help predict, they can budget for it? And what would you say is a good budget to have, Kevin, as far as maybe a quarterly budget for preventive maintenance, maybe a dollar amount? So
on the budgeting part of it, some of the people I've talked to, owner-operators, I've always asked them, I'm just curious, how much money do you put back to safely say that you're going to have money to budget for oil changes, brakes, tires? And some of them put anywhere from about 60% to 70% up for that reason. There is different OEMs who have preventive maintenance schedules that you can buy up front. Some of the wearable items like belts and tires and stuff like that are not going to be covered, but majority of your preventive maintenance could be budgeted in the truck on the front end.
Well, Kevin, let's talk a little bit about extended warranties. There's pros and cons to purchasing an extended warranty or not buying an extended warranty. If we had a room full of independent contractors. Actually, right now, the Great American Truck Show is scheduled to be going on at the Dallas Convention Center, but it was canceled, unfortunately, due to COVID. But if we were talking to 100 independent contractors at a lunch and learn in Dallas, Texas, and this came up, what would you tell them about pros and cons of an extended warranty?
I really like buying the extended warranty, buying the Mack extended warranty. I mean, if you can afford it, buy the extended warranty to the T. It's a peace of mind to me. And it's one of those things you can pay now or pay later. And unfortunately, with the current economy the way it is, a costly bill could mean an operator losing their business.
Wow, yeah. That's a great point.
So some of the smallest technology in the trucks can be held in your hand, and it could cost thousands of dollars. So in my opinion, I'm all for the warranties.
Yeah. You know what? If you've sold me on it, if I was going to be operating a big truck, and it's hard enough for me to drive a pickup truck, so you don't want me driving a big one. But that makes a lot of sense, man. Thanks for sharing that. And
no problem.
Here's something that comes up. I'm always curious because, even on car or truck purchases, they always ask you about an extended warranty, and they say, you got to decide within 7 days or something. But can an extended warranty be purchased well after the tractor has been purchased, whether it's a new tractor or a pre-owned tractor?
I believe as long as in like the Volvo and Mack industry, I know those guys pretty well, but as long as you're still under standard warranty, you can buy the extended through the factory, through the OEM. There is third-party warranty people out there, but be very cautious of what you're getting and ask very detailed questions, because it may sound like you got everything to the engine, but it may be internal components only. And so ask questions.
Are there any mileage limitations? Like, I'm buying a used tractor. It's got 550,000 miles on it. I roll up another 50,000 on it. And then I say, you know what? I might want to get an extended warranty. Can I get an extended warranty on a 650,000 mile tractor?
Sure you can. They can tailor coverage from the factory warranty to the third-party warranties. You can add what you feel is important to you.
It's basically an insurance product. So, hey, any insurance solution can be tailored, to fit the need. Obviously, there's a cost associated with it. So, good
Absolutely.
point. Good point right there. Now, I know, you represent Volvo, Mack, and, the other OEMs out there. They want to get feedback from their customers, and especially service-oriented side of the business. But why is it important, who responds to the survey sent out by the OEMs?
Well, a lot of the fleets don't respond. There's too many chiefs and Indians involved in that, so there's not one person you can pinpoint. We really rely on the owner operators to give us that feedback, and all of the OEMs actually use that input to channel and improve the processes that we provide for the customer. Those services are. We can add services. We could tailor-made services to fill the needs of what the customer's needing at that point in time.
Well, Kevin, this has been a great segment. Anything else you'd like to share with the independent contractors that are tuned in right now, going down the highway or perhaps delivering freight in rural America?
I'd say stay positive and keep trucking.
Man,
we need them to work.
That's good stuff. And I can honestly say I have never been more proud to be part of this industry. When I first got in it, probably 25 or 6 years ago, I was working nights and weekends, and I'd drive up to the terminal in a little town in Portland, Tennessee, and that fleet was running some red Volvos at the time and some Peterbilts. But just hearing those trucks running on a Sunday, knowing they were getting ready to deliver groceries, just made you feel proud. I mean, that you were making an impact in people's lives. So I know you've been at it for a long time, and thanks for joining me today on The Road Home.
Thank you.
On this segment of The Road Home, I'm joined by James Garner. He's been an owner-operator, a trained pharmacist, for many years and now specializes in primarily sleep apnea equipment, helping people get fitted for machines. And there's such an issue with sleep apnea with the professional driver. Some studies show 1 in 3, 33% of drivers have some form of sleep apnea. So it's a big problem, Mr. Garner, and thank you for being on the show.
You bet. I appreciate the opportunity.
Now, the way I met you is I fall in that category. I have trouble sleeping. I had trouble sleeping last night, mainly because I was so excited to have you here on the show. But it's an issue, when you don't get proper sleep, especially driving, a tractor trailer, 80,000 pounds of freight. It becomes a big safety issue. So for the folks that have not been through the process or aren't real familiar with CPAP, why don't we start with, what does CPAP stand for? How does it work? And let's start right there.
CPAP, that's an acronym for Continuous Positive Airway Pressure. And that refers to the principle that is involved in the operation of a CPAP machine. Since sleep apnea patients will commonly have a collapsed airway or one that's occluded by the tongue falling against the other side of the trachea, the windpipe. The CPAP machine works by just blowing a very carefully controlled column of air down the trachea so that when the airway tries to occlude, it can't. The structure is held open by this column of air that won't let that occlusion occur.
If folks that are listening right now are having trouble sleeping, a lot of it has to do with diet, caffeine. There's a lot of potential variables that impact sleep, not just obstructed airways, but how do people know if they have an obstructive sleep apnea or have an issue? You recommend getting tested? What are some of the things they can do?
Well, the most common scenario is someone who has been to the doctor at their spouse's or their significant other's insistence because they're waking up choking and having fragmented sleeps, getting up a lot of times during the night. It's on the one hand, in a sense, it's a very simple diagnosis. It does not rocket surgery, so to speak, to notice that someone has sleep apnea. They'll have people tell them, you need to go to the doctor. You're stopping breathing at night.
I know for me personally, when everything's in line and lockstep, much better sleep. I feel much better, and you're right. My wife, she sleeps a whole lot better as well, Mr. Garner. So, a lot of folks say, hey, I have a friend, a parent, brother, sister who tried CPAP, and they said, hey, it didn't work for them. Why might that not be the case, for others as well?
Well, that's the other side of obstructive sleep apnea and the use of CPAP for the treatment of it. Each individual is just highly variable as with regard to what works for them, what understanding they need to have, what they need to do to achieve success. And that's where the expertise of the person who is assisting them, perhaps in most cases, I believe, the company or person who's setting them up with the device, being able to tune in on what their difficulty might be if they have difficulty. There's a lot of anecdotal information out there, war stories, if you will. Somebody's got a brother, a father, uncle that has been unsuccessful with CPAP, and they said, that doesn't work. It didn't work for me. It's just something that, here's 6 reasons why this is not going to work for you. And the thing about it is the acclimation of getting used to having this thing on your face and being able to sleep through it is often a function of comfort. How comfortable is someone laying there in the bed with this mask on their face? And that's where technology comes in. There are a lot of ways that a lot of different approaches to making someone comfortable, but when you're comfortable and can fall asleep and your airway is open all night, there's just a world of difference in how you feel.
And you were telling me you started your business back in 1982, so you've seen a lot of changes over the years. How have the machines changed in, say, the last 5, 10, 15 years? You've seen a lot of technology changes. They've become smaller, more efficient, quieter. Talk to us a little bit about the changes you've seen and what's available on the market today.
Well, think about the evolution and the development of computers or your phone that you have in your pocket. Has it changed in the last 5 years, 10 years? In 1982, there weren't any such thing as cell phones. So there, in the mid-1980s, that's only when CPAP was invented. So it was a relatively crude technology. The story is that a vacuum machine, a vacuum cleaner motor was used as the original blower, and things have changed a whole lot since then.
Yes, it's come a long way, for sure.
It's gotten much more sophisticated.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. The drivers now carry around an iPhone that they say is as powerful as, more powerful than the first computer to send astronauts to the moon.
Absolutely.
So that's amazing. The cost, a lot of drivers, they're supporting their family. They're spending a lot of time and money maybe on repairs and maintenance on their tractor. So they're worried about maybe cost of a CPAP machine or going through the process. Can you talk to us about maybe general costs, how insurance covers it, and if someone maybe doesn't have health insurance, how they handle that?
Well, the good news is that much like computers, as features have been added, the costs have not really increased that much, if at all. In some cases, they've actually gone down. There used to be this general rule back, as little as 10 years ago, that if you got a CPAP machine, you were going to be out about $1,000. That's been whittled down now to around $750, $800, and the technology is way better. So many people have failed with CPAP. They may even have a machine at home that's just sitting there on the shelf or in the back of the closet that they've given up on, and it's like expecting to go to the moon with that original computer. No, it's just not going to happen. You need something better.
Now, there's a lot of options now, mail order, online, local stores like yours, to get custom fitted. Why does it matter where you get your equipment and how does that impact the fitting and, as far as CPAP suppliers? Because, a lot of folks are all over the country. They're traveling, time constraints, on getting in and getting fitted. What's the impact there and the importance of getting, fitted properly?
Well, the short answer is that if you're a smart cookie, you can buy your CPAP online and do just fine. But there are a whole lot more people that think they're smart cookies that aren't knowledgeable, to be humble about it. It's because they just don't know. That need to be walked through the steps. In particular, the technology that you choose, that nowadays is an automatic titrating machine that can sense and find automatically with every breath the correct pressure. And the humidification and the technological problems that have been overcome, the original machines' humidification devices were pretty crude by today's standard. Well, that's been worked out with technology. But the most important thing is the comfort and the suitability of the mask. They have just improved almost exponentially over what they used to be. And then, of course, there's the care and the maintenance of the machine and what you should do and what you shouldn't do to make it last longer. And then, of course, there's the reporting capabilities. That's been one of the most significant changes in the last 5 years, are feedback to the user that can give that user and their doctor and the provider of the machine some valuable information that gives them objective measurement of the success of the machine, not just subjective what they believe.
And that's wireless, just much like the telematics on a truck or trailer that reports back to a dispatch office. These CPAP machines now have a wireless modem in them that send information up to the cloud and down, and like you said, a third-party doctor or pharmacist or whoever's working with that patient can get the data on the computer.
Exactly. I can have somebody go on CPAP yesterday, and I can go into my office this morning and see how they did last night for their first night. And immediate feedback like that is more valuable than delayed, because like anything else, bad habits can develop. If you're doing something wrong and you don't know that it's wrong, you just keep on doing it, and we can head that off.
Well, that's some great advice. And Mr. Garner, one final question. Once someone gets acclimated to the machine, a driver gets fitted, they're on the road, maybe they're going to be away from home for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks away from their medical provider, where maybe they got fitted for their CPAP machine. How will they know whether it's working as the doctor intended? And what do they do if they're having trouble getting acclimated to that CPAP machine?
As long as they can get 2 or more bars on their cell phone, that wireless modem can communicate with the cloud, and I can see it. They would have to be at some remote place in the wilderness for me not to be able to receive that and be able to make changes by communicating back to the machine if the changes are appropriate.
Any cleaning tips? I know, sanitary, especially in the COVID environment we're in. Any cleaning tips or general care that you recommend?
Good question. There's been a lot of discussion about that, in particular with regard to ozone and ultraviolet cleaning devices that have emerged on the market. There's a technical problem with using an ozone device because it's incompatible with the latex and the silicone parts that are on the machine. The studies have shown that the pliability of the mask interface is of paramount importance with regard to how well it seals. And if you don't have a good seal on your CPAP machine, then you're going to have problems. You're going to have discomfort. You're going to have failure.
Now, you got your pharmacy degree at the University of Texas at Austin. Football question. I'm throwing you a little bit of a curveball, as we say in the baseball world, but looks like we might have some football. How are your Longhorns looking this season?
Well, there's so much up in the air, but whether we're even going to have a season, but it looks like we are, and I'm very encouraged by that. I'm very hopeful this year. We have a seasoned quarterback, some really good sophomores who had a good freshman year last year, and then a really high-class freshman class coming in now to help improve the team. So, but we've got some formidable opposition too. So,
Coach Tom Herman's been doing a good job hitting the recruiting trail, hitting some of these Texas high schools, and we'll see. Football season is just a couple weeks away as we record this, and check the show notes. We'll put some links in there for some additional information about CPAP machine care and maybe even some sleep tips, wellness tips, things like that. We're here to help you, and we want you to get a better night's sleep. At least 7 hours a night is what's recommended. The more the merrier, right?
Absolutely. We're talking about quality of life issues here. We all have a life to live, a family to provide for, but also a family that needs and craves your attention when you get home. A young boy at home that needs to have the father play catch with him outside, maybe a daughter that needs her father for a tea party. But if you're not getting good sleep on the road and you go home and you just collapse, you're missing so much in life, because you're depriving your wife, who loves you and appreciates you but wants more of you, and you're depriving your children of experiences that they will remember all their life. So what are they going to remember? Their dad that's collapsed on the couch, or one that's ready to go when they get home to be with their family?
Mr. James Garner, owner-operator of Active Medical in Denton, Texas. Man, a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, you're very welcome.